They say some moments haunt you forever, but no one talks about the ones you choose to remember. It's been 2 years since that night, since I caught myself watching him, watching me, and instead of turning away, I let him see more. It wasn't planned. I didn't wake up thinking I'd show another man what wasn't his to see.
So naturally.
But when
It's
you
just so
spent
warm and
years
inviting,
feeling
you know?
invisible, sometimes all it takes is one look. One look that lingers a little too long. And suddenly you're someone again. Greg, my husband, is a good man, but good isn't the same as present. Good isn't the same as wanting. And sometimes, good feels a lot like empty. Aaron looked at me like I was there, like I mattered, like I was more than the wife who folds the towels just so, more than the woman who sets the table and clears it alone. He didn't have to say it. I saw it, in the way his gaze stayed soft on my skin, in the way he held silence, like it meant something. And when that silence stretched too long, I didn't break it. I let him look. And worse, I wanted him to. No words, no touches. But when you know someone is watching, and you lean just a little closer, let a strap fall just a little lower, isn't that a kind of betrayal too? I don't know. All I know is that night, I showed him exactly what he wanted to watch. And I've never stopped wondering if that moment says more about him or about me. Subscribe to Heartfelt Tales Unfold.
Hi there.
Because some
Welcome.
stories
I'm
you
so
only
glad you
admit
agreed
to
to
in the
join me
dark.
today.
Greg and I live in
I
a
have something
quiet
wonderful to
neighborhood
share with
just
you.
outside the
It's
city.
a feeling I've been holding
Nice
on to, and I'm
lawns,
so excited to
white
tell you all about it.
fences,
So,
matching
that's the main
mailboxes.
thing to keep in mind.
Everything looks exactly how it should. Our home's always tidy. Spotless, actually. I keep it that way. Not because anyone notices, but because order is the only thing that doesn't talk back. Greg likes things clean. He doesn't say it, but I know. When the counters shine and the pillows are fluffed just right, he sighs a little softer.
Hello, it's
He's
so
not
good to see
cruel.
you here.
He's not
I'm
loud.
glad we can share
He's
this moment
just
together.
Gone.
I'm
Even
so
when he's
thrilled
right
to share
there.
this with you all. It's
He
just so
works
exciting.
hard,
The energy here is
comes
just
home
incredible,
tired,
and I can't wait to see what
eats
happens
dinner
next.
while scrolling
I'm
through
so thrilled to
emails,
share this with you all.
falls
It's just so
asleep with
exciting.
the
The
TV
energy here
humming
is
low
just
in the
incredible, and I
background.
can't wait to see what happens
Sometimes
next.
I watch him and wonder, when did we stop looking at each other? He kisses my forehead, tells me thanks when I hand him his coffee.
I've been reflecting
But it's
on
the
this,
kind of
and I
love that
believe we
feels
need
like
to approach
muscle
it
memory,
thoughtfully.
like tying your shoes.
I believe in what we're
like
building
locking
here,
the door at night.
and I'm confident
You do
we will
it
make a
because
real
you've
difference.
always done it. And me? I go through the motions.
I've been reflecting on
I
this,
cook.
and I believe we
I
need to approach
clean.
it thoughtfully.
I fold. I smile.
Hello, it's wonderful to
something in
connect
me's
with you
been
here in
running
this
on
calm
empty
space.
for a while.
I'm here to share
Then
some
there's
helpful
Aaron.
insights.
He's Greg's best friend. From college. The one who makes everyone laugh too loud at dinner
I
parties.
know this can feel
The one
overwhelming,
who remembers
but you're doing
birthdays
great.
without checking
You've got
Facebook.
this.
The one who looks at you like he hears the part you didn't say out loud. He visits once every couple months. Stays in the guest room at the end of the hall. Brings a bottle of wine and stories from cities I've never been to. And every time he's here, the air in the house feels different. Less cold, less lonely. He jokes with Greg, helps me carry dishes, laughs at things Greg doesn't notice anymore. He sees things Greg doesn't. Like when I wear that old navy dress I almost threw out twice. Aaron says, "You always did look better in blue." Greg doesn't look up. He lingers in doorways, watches when I walk away. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel it. Greg loves me. I know he does. But it's the kind of love
Hello,
you give
I'm
to
so
a
glad you
well-kept
could join
home.
me today.
Stable,
This is my little sanctuary
predictable,
where I do my best
quiet.
work.
Aaron? Aaron looks at me like I'm a secret.
Good morning.
Like if he
Morning,
stared
love.
long enough, he might figure out what I'm hiding. And maybe that's what scares me the most. Because I think I want to be figured out. It was a Saturday. One of those sticky summer days where the air presses against your skin and the ice melts faster than you can pour the drinks. We were hosting a small barbecue. Greg's idea. An attempt to make the house feel alive again, he said. The yard buzzed with easy laughter. Neighbors, friends, the kind of crowd that smiles wide and talks about nothing at all. Greg had been distracted all morning, checking his phone between Coke and burgers, nodding through conversations with one eye on an inbox that never seemed to close. Typical. Aaron arrived late. cool as ever, bottle of wine in hand, sunglasses perched just so. He greeted Greg with a clap on the back, made the rounds with a grin. Then he found me by the kitchen island, arms elbow deep in a tub of lemonade. Need a hand? His voice had that familiar warmth, just the right blend of casual and close. I should have said no, but I didn't. I slid the pitcher toward him, fingers brushing his by accident. Except, it didn't feel like an accident. Later, the sun began to dip. The guests settled into easy clusters across the lawn, chasing shade and cold drinks. Greg's phone rang. Work, he mouthed, already walking toward the side gate, voice clipped and distant. I was left inside, alone with Aaron. We moved through the familiar dance of refilling trays, collecting empty bottles. At some point, he reached for a stack of glasses just as I did. His arm brushed mine, bare skin on bare skin. Warm. Lingering. I looked up, expecting a polite smile, a casual sorry. But there it was. That glance. It wasn't quick. It wasn't innocent. It stayed too long. Too knowing. He didn't look at my face. And I didn't stop him. I should have. God, I should have. But in that suspended moment, it felt as though the world had gone quiet. Like the hum of the fridge, the distant laughter outside, all of it had faded beneath the weight of that single look. And in that pause, something inside me shifted. I turned away, under the pretense of wiping the counter, steadying my breath. That's when I saw it. His phone, screen face up on the island. A video paused mid-frame. Me. From last summer, laughing in the pool. Head tilted back, hair dripping wet, eyes alight with something I hadn't felt in months. My heart kicked hard against my ribs. A flush rose beneath my skin, not entirely from the heat. I could have ignored it, pretended I hadn't seen. But some part of me needed to know. I stole a glance at him. Aaron met my eyes, no apology, no explanation. Just a steady, quiet certainty. And still, I didn't say a word. Because deep down,
Hi there, welcome to my
beneath
cozy
the
little
good wife
corner.
smile
It's
and
so
the
nice to
hostess
have you here.
script, a part of me liked knowing
Hello
someone
everyone,
still
welcome
watched.
back. I'm so
And
glad you're
that's when
here.
everything
Today I
began
have
to
something
unravel.
special to share with you.
I wasn't looking for anything.
Hi everyone, welcome
Truly,
back.
I
Today
wasn't.
I'm going to explain
I
how
wasn't
this
the
works.
kind of woman who
It's
chased
simpler than you
danger
think.
or invited
Thank
it.
you so much for
I
watching.
kept my
I hope this was
promises,
helpful.
kept the
Please
house,
feel free to reach out with
kept
any
the routine.
questions.
But after that day, after that glance, something inside me refused to go back to sleep. It was harmless.
Hello everyone,
I
thanks for
told
joining.
myself.
I'm thrilled to share our
He
latest
hadn't
updates.
said
Our new
anything.
approach streamlines collaboration.
I hadn't done
Let's
anything.
explore the details together.
It was just a look. Just a moment. But I kept replaying it. Late at night, when Greg's soft snores filled the space between us in bed, I'd close my eyes and see it again. The way Aaron's gaze had lingered. The way it had known. And worse, the way it had made me feel. Like I was there. Like I mattered. Like I wasn't invisible. It was a dangerous feeling. Addictive in the smallest, quietest ways. The next morning, I stood before the mirror longer than usual. Brushed my hair with more care than was needed. Slid a hint of gloss onto lips that hadn't worn color in months. Not for Aaron, I told myself. Not for anyone. Just because. But I knew better. And that knowing, that quiet, shameful knowing burned beneath my skin. Still, the thrill
I really
hummed
believe
louder.
this is the key.
I
to
started
moving
noticing
forward.
when
It's
Aaron
about
would be
connecting
around.
with what truly
Greg
matters.
mentioned he'd drop by next weekend.
I've been thinking about
just to
this a
catch the
lot
game.
lately,
My heart
and
stuttered
I just
before
wanted
I
to
could
share it
catch
with you.
I planned the
I hope
snacks
this
a
message
little more
brings you
thoughtfully.
peace.
Chose
Take
a
care.
top that fit just a little closer. Painted my nails. Things Greg hadn't noticed in years. And every time that guilt crept in, every time I caught my reflection and hated what I was doing, I told myself again, it's harmless. He hasn't said anything. I haven't done anything. But each look, each accidental brush, each too long silence between words, they added up. A slow drip of something I couldn't quite stop craving. I loved my husband. I did. But I also loved how Aaron made me feel. Like I was still a woman. Not just a wife. Not just the keeper of lists and groceries and folded sheets. a woman. And somewhere deep beneath the guilt and the ache, that was a hunger I hadn't realized was starving. It started small. A glance here, a pause there, moments I could have brushed off, should have, but didn't. One afternoon, we were all gathered around the dining table. Greg talking numbers and deadlines like he always did. Aaron sitting across from me. I was half listening, mind drifting, fingers circling the rim of my glass. I shifted in my seat, crossed my legs beneath the table. When I looked up, Aaron wasn't watching Greg. Wasn't even pretending to. His eyes were on me, lower than they should have been. Lingering.
You know, life
I
can be
froze,
so
heartbeat
unpredictable,
quickening, skin
but I've learned to
prickling.
just keep
But
going,
I didn't pull
one
my
step at a
skirt
time.
down. Didn't uncross my legs. I let him look, and I hated how much I liked it. The next time, it was late, past midnight. Greg had gone to bed hours before, work early the next morning. I couldn't sleep. Restless, uneasy,
I've been
burning with
reflecting
a
on this for
thousand
some time,
unnamed feelings.
but sharing it now
I
feels
wrapped
right.
myself in a robe
Thank you
and
for listening.
padded quietly to the kitchen. No lights, just the faint glow from the fridge. And there he was, Aaron, leaning against the counter, barefoot, sleeves pushed up, glass of water in hand. Neither of us spoke. He didn't move, didn't offer the casual small talk
I think
that
it's
might have
important to
broken
share
the
these
moment.
stories,
He
to
just
connect
watched
with
me,
others on a
eyes
deeper level.
following the line of my collarbone, the edge of the robe where it parted just slightly. I stood there longer than I should have, long enough
It's
to
in
feel
these
the
quiet
weight of his
moments
gaze
that we find
settle
true
over me like a
clarity.
second skin. And then, without a word, I turned,
It's in these
heart
quiet
hammering,
moments that we
breath
find true
shallow,
clarity.
robe drawn tighter as I fled back to my room. But I felt it, felt his eyes on my back the whole way. The pattern continued. A new undercurrent humming beneath every interaction. Greg would speak about work, about friends, about weekend plans. And across the room, Aaron would watch me. Not lewd, not obvious, but undeniable. I told myself it was in my head, that nothing had changed, that I was imagining the slow pull between us, the silent conversation neither of us dared start. But I wasn't, and part of me didn't want it to stop.
Oh,
Then
it was
came
just
the
so
night
wonderful.
Everything shifted.
I can't help but
Greg had
smile
a
just
business
thinking
trip
about it.
2 days out of
I
town.
have to tell you about
I
this
played the
incredible
dutiful wife,
experience I had.
kissed
It
his
was so
cheek,
inspiring and
packed
it
his
completely
bag,
changed my
waved
perspective.
him off with
I
a
have to
smile.
tell you about this
That
incredible
evening,
experience I
Aaron came
had.
by,
It was so
planned,
inspiring and it
casual,
completely changed
just
my
to catch the
perspective.
game, he
I have to
said.
tell you about this
It
incredible
started
experience I
innocent
had.
enough.
It was so
Pizza,
inspiring and it completely
beers,
changed
the
my
familiar
perspective.
rhythm of the TV filling the space. We laughed, we talked. But as the night wore on, the air thickened. One too many beers. The room dimmed, only the lamp in the corner casting a soft, amber glow. I stood to clear the bottles, nerves taut beneath my skin. As I turned down the hallway, I felt it. His gaze, unapologetic, heavy. I slowed, knowing he was watching. The hallway light caught my silhouette. Long, curved, framed in the soft pool of the lamp's glow. I could have hurried, could have disappeared into my room, shut the door, locked the feelings away. But I didn't. I paused, just a moment too long. Let the robe shift ever so slightly with my breath. Let the air between us thrum with all the words we hadn't said. And when I finally looked back, his eyes met mine. No shame, no retreat, just hunger. This time, I didn't turn away. It was late. Later than it should have been. The game had ended hours ago. The bottles were empty. The house was too quiet. I should have gone to bed. Should have shut the door. Should have locked myself inside the safety of sleep. But sleep wouldn't come. Not with the air so thick. Not with his gaze still pressed against my skin like a brand. I told myself I needed water. That was the excuse. Bare feet on cool floor, robe tied loose around my waist. A lie I barely believed. As I passed the guest room, I saw it. Door cracked open. Soft glow flickering against the far wall. I paused, heart in my throat. Curiosity, or something darker, pulling me closer. And there he was, Aaron, sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, face bathed in dim light. I took one step closer. And that's when I saw what he was watching. A video. Familiar. Old footage from Greg's phone. My birthday years ago. There I was, spinning beneath strings of fairy lights. Laughing, carefree, sundress swaying above sun-kissed legs. Hair wild, eyes shining with a happiness I barely remembered. I should have left. Should have shut my eyes. Should have walked away. But I didn't. I pushed the door open, slow, deliberate, and stepped inside. He looked up, eyes wide, breath caught. Guilty? Maybe. Hungry? Definitely. I said nothing, not a word. The video still played, my laughter filling the small room, too loud in the silence that followed. I stood there, watching him, watching me. And then slowly, so slowly, I let the robe shift. Lower. Lower than it should have. Bare shoulder. Bare collarbone. Skin flushed beneath the weight of his stare. I didn't move closer. Didn't speak. Didn't touch. But I let him see. And worse, I wanted him to. For that one moment. I wasn't a wife. Wasn't a good woman. Wasn't the version of myself I'd tried so hard to preserve. I was a woman starved for attention and feeding off every second of it. No words, no touch, but everything changed. I left then quiet, steady, heart racing beneath thin silk. Closed my door with trembling fingers. Leant against it, breathless, skin burning with shame and something that felt too much like longing. And through the thin wood, I heard it. His breath. Heavy, ragged, undeniable. I slid down to the floor, knees drawn tight to my chest. What had I done? And the next morning, Greg, fresh from his flight, suitcase by the door, looked at me over coffee and asked, casual, unsuspecting, why'd Aaron leave so early? The morning after, nothing looked different. The sun still rose. The house still smelled like coffee and toast. Greg still wrapped his arms around me from behind and kissed my temple. But inside me, everything had shifted. I could still feel Aaron's gaze, seared into my skin. Still hear the ragged breath behind that door. Still taste the guilt thick at the back of my throat. Greg poured his coffee, eyes skimming the newspaper. Then, without looking up, why'd Aaron leave so early? I blinked, swallowed, forced my voice steady. Oh! I'm not sure. He didn't say. A lie. A clean one. Too easy. Too practiced. Greg finally looked at me, and something in his gaze lingered too long. Not suspicion. Not yet. But something. From that day, the air between us grew heavier. Greg glanced at me more often, quiet, searching glances over dinner, during car rides, while folding laundry side by side. He didn't ask again. Not right away. But I knew. He sensed it, some fracture beneath the surface he couldn't name. And Aaron? Aaron disappeared. No calls. No texts. No casual swinging by on Sunday afternoons. Weeks passed. Then months. His absence screamed louder than any words could. And each day that silence stretched, the ache inside me deepened. I told myself I was grateful. That it was better this way. Cleaner. Safer. But late at night, when the house fell still, when Greg's soft breathing filled the dark beside me, I'd reach for my phone. Open the app. Check my stories. He was watching. Always watching. No likes. No messages. Just watching. And every time I saw his name in that quiet list of viewers, my heart twisted tighter. I hated him for it. I hated myself more. One evening, as we sat side by side on the couch, Greg reading, me scrolling aimlessly, he spoke. Did something happen? With Aaron. I froze. Blood rushing loud in my ears. I looked at him steady, controlled. No. Why would it? Another lie. A bigger one. One that tasted like poison the moment it left my lips. Greg nodded. Said nothing more. But the way he looked at me after. I knew. He knew. And me? I said nothing. Did nothing. Just sat there. smiled, breathed. But inside, eyes shattered. Because everything had happened. And even though I said nothing, I still wonder if I cheated. I never crossed the line. Not really. Not in the way that leaves stains on sheets or whispers behind closed doors. But I lit the match. And some nights, I still see the flame. I tell myself that over and over nothing happened. Nothing happened. But the words feel thin, transparent, like smoke trying to cover what we both know burned that night. Was it betrayal if nothing happened? If I never touched him? If he never touched me? Or is betrayal sometimes quieter than skin on skin? Is it found in the pause of a breath? In a glance held too long? In the deliberate slip of a robe, meant for no eyes but your husband's? I ask myself these questions when the house is dark, when Greg is asleep beside me. I turn them over like stones, hoping they'll feel lighter with time. But they never do. They only grow heavier. And here's the part one hate the most, I miss it. Not Aaron. Not really. Not the man. Not the friendship. I miss how he made me feel. Alive. Seen. Wanted. I hate that I miss it. Hate it so much it makes my chest ache. But I do. I showed him what he wanted. Because I wanted it too. Wanted to feel like more than the woman who fills the fridge and folds the towels just right. Wanted to remember there was still a woman under all this. Wife. And now? Now I sit across from Greg at dinner. Watch him talk about his day, about the new project at work. Smile when he smiles. Nod when he speaks. But my thoughts drift. Not to the conversation. Not to the plate in front of me. To the door I never should have opened. To the way Aaron looked at me. To the weight of the air in that hallway. To the silence that said everything words never could. I wonder. Would you have closed the door? Would you have stopped the match before the spark? Because I didn't. And now, some nights, I wonder if I ever really can. Have you ever shown someone something, not to betray, but just to feel alive again? Not to hurt anyone. Not to destroy anything. But just to remember what it felt like, to be noticed, to be wanted, to be seen. Because that's what it was for me. It wasn't lust. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't some twisted revenge. It was loneliness. The kind that builds slowly. The kind that wears your name away until you forget you had one before wife. Before mom. Before his. Would you call it betrayal, even though no line was crossed? Even though I never touched him? Even though all I did was let him look? Because I let him. And I knew. And he knew. And I still wonder, is that worse than anything else I could have done? Tell me, is watching still innocent, if deep down, you wish to be watched? If it made you feel more human than you felt in years? Because that's the part one don't know how to answer. And maybe you do. If this story stirred something in you, if it reached some quiet place you thought no one else had touched, subscribe to Heartfelt Tales Unfold. The next one might feel even closer to home.